Hello, you bloody gorgeous creatures. Thank you for being here, making some space for yourselves. Thank you for being here, Kerry Hadlands, Bryony Shaw. Oh, Kirsty, I know you're there. There's people with fizz, there's people with a cup of tea, there's people who brought their partners and their kids and the dog and all sorts. It's Sunday and it's a very special type of Sunday. Not only is it a Sunday session Sunday, we don't have to put an alarm on tomorrow to get up at the crack of dawn, and what a gorgeous feeling that is. Now we are in the top 3 for the 10th year running. The most stressed profession, and 44% are going to quit in the next 5 years. I mean, I often think, what about the other 56%? What about us hanging in there? I think we're just so broken. We haven't got time to fill in the Tesco's application form. But if you're here, well, you've made time for yourself, and that is the most important thing of all. And we know that teacher togetherness, getting through it together is going to make the difference. What we're going to do here, my hashtag CPD seekers, my hashtag Think with Incas, we're going to have some brain synchronicity. We're going to come together over a period of 4 sessions over the next 4 weeks. We're going to have 2 sessions on spelling and 2 sessions on writing. But I'm not here by myself. Oh no, I'm not. I couldn't actually do it without my husband because he's got so many knobsy twizzles. I ain't got a clue the buttons he's pressing. Here he is with all his wizardry. It is Mr. C. Hello, Mr. C.
Hello, Mr. C.
Yeah, he's got a rubbish mic and rubbish light.
No, I've got a better mic.
Oh,
and my light is just perfect. It hides most of my wrinkles, so up yours. I'll put it back to you.
Up yours, droopy drawers, back to the 44% of us who are going to bugger off. Anyway, this is what tonight is about. We stand on a mountain of cognitive science, but it's not just about everything we know about the teaching of learning. In fact, our jobs are a little bit in the red corner where we've got to think about our subject. And you know, actually, I can't think about any other subject other than English. Just make sure I never teach your kids maths, and all of that jazz. It's not just what we know about English. It's about the children we teach, the age they are, the stage they're at, and our own personal school community. But actually, on the other side, it's not all of that subject knowledge that we bring in the mix of the kind of teacher expertise. We also have to think about, well, how are we going to deliver it? That sort of daily coming to life in the classroom. And we know that really the art of teaching is both of these things coming together so that we are live and direct with our kids, and we are enacting more purpleness. So purple are we, and that's our whole lives actually, bringing our subject knowledge and the how we do it together so that the teaching and learning exchange is vivid and illuminating and Prince-like. You know, I don't mean dead there. I mean like a little bit sort of lycra-y, dynamic, sparkly. That's what tonight is about. Actually, how we think about that very specifically for spelling, so that the teaching and learning exchange means that we are crystal clear explainers. Now, remember tonight, if you want to stop me in my tracks, not my trunks, my tracks, type a question to Ian in the chat and he will just say, hold up, and right there we'll answer it. If you want to ask...
Can I just say?
Oh, say
if it's looking like... If it's something I know that Jane's going to be covering during the session, I won't be stopping you there and then, Jane.
Okay.
I will be... letting her carry on. So don't think I'm ignoring you. I see all the chat.
Great. And if you want to be noticed in the chat, just make yourself known. We do see it all. And tonight, and what happened with the spelling book is we had to take a deep breath and listen to the community, listen to some feedback. And tonight is about bringing all of that together. And how do we implement it with true fidelity, that sense of being kind of loyal to the cause of it. And I'm going to talk really in two modes here in terms of implementing those very strategies that are going to have the biggest impact. Those things that we need to be really tight around, the tight aspects like, we've got to get this right, it's got to be accurate, it's got to be slick. And the looser parts, which is like, you do you, babe. Do you know what I mean? You do you, babe. All of that. Okay. Oh, yes, I did fancy saying this. It's a bit of showing off here. But, you know, if I don't show off about myself, well, Mr. C won't. I don't think anybody will. I just want to say big wowzer, heartfelt thank you for everybody who's got involved with the spelling book. And I know some of you have just bought it and put it on your shelf because you're at capacity, but it's going to roll out this September. That might be you. There's some of you who've had a bit of a trial and then, I don't know, we've got SATs in a few days, haven't we? It's all going a bit crazy out there. But for those of you who we've got some wonderful feedback about its impact, I wanted to say thank you, and to the Teach Awards. You know, we had a bit of glitz and glamour, and we've had a swanky award. Thank you very much for that. And all the gorgeous heartburst reviews on Amazon. I really do see all of that, even though sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if there's enough estrogen in my arse patch to get me through some of this stuff that I have to cope with. Anyway, first things first, really crucial.
Kirsty has said.
Up the arse patch?
Yeah.
No, she didn't. What did Kirsty say?
Said, I'll do it again. So it's been doing it since September and already seen big improvement.
Oh, Kirsty with an I and an E. I think I know who you are, Kirsty. I don't think you're the Y, Kirsty. Been doing it since September and seen big improvements. I think it's about that consistency with this approach. That is why I wrote it where you get a whole year's worth in your hand. Now, right at the start, I want to talk, not for a long time, but everything I develop to prop us up when the pressure's on is based on a mental schema, a mind frame to optimize cognitive load. And it doesn't matter whether we're teaching reading, we get a rainbow. If we're teaching writing, we get a rainbow. And for spelling, we get a rainbow. And everything locked in that rainbow covers the national curriculum there and back again. But it's organised in three beautiful tiers. The top tier, all about the structures for learning spelling. The middle tier, that nightmare about spelling, like the pressure's on, you've got to do it live in the moment. And finally, the bottom tier, which is all about strategies for learning. And what the rainbow gives us is a way for us as a teacher to pick up one of the lenses, illuminate it bright into the classroom, and enable children to organise their new knowledge, see the interconnections between these filing cabinets of information, and more than that, begin to see concepts unlocking for them, because there are more and more worked examples in a truly cross-curricular sense. Now, I don't want to talk in a global fashion today. I want to zoom in a very concrete way to, right, I want to use this rainbow. I want it to come to life. And I know a lot of you want to find out more about Go Grapheme Grafters, if you can say Oh my goodness!
We have been drinking.
I tell you what, we've been at a rugby club for a fixture final. You know, the fact that I can talk at all is an absolute miracle. That's all I'm saying. Okay, right. What is the point of working with this lensed approach, and what are we trying to get children to do as we develop their skills with spelling? Now, we know we're against the odds. We know that COVID has really hurt us, has hurt the children. We know we need them to build up so many skills when it comes to word development. Not just they have to acquire the words, and then it's another level again to be able to spell them well. And in that development of their spelling skills, we want them to be pattern seekers. And that is a key part of improving spelling. We want them to see the links, the joins, the connections between words, and we want them to get under the skin of a word to reach true structure, to be able to break it down. And there are many ways to break down spells. We can break them down in terms of their base parts, their prefixes, their suffixes. We can break them down in terms of their sounds, but it's their pattern-seeking minds that we truly want to sharpen and shape up. So, first things first, we are going to explore tonight how there is a set timetable organisation related to working with the spelling book. And essentially, I need you, and I don't want to lose you here, I need you to ring fence 50 minutes every single week to teach spelling. But that 50 minutes looks and feels different on cycle 1, which is a 50-minute ring-fenced amount of time, compared to cycle 2. Now, I know some of you know this, and if you know this, you can go, yeah, I know this, and that's really reassuring. That's why some CPD is really great, because we go, yeah, I know this. And some of you are listening to this for the first time. But let's talk about that 50 minutes of time. On the first week, we have got, and they can be sandwiched up next to each other, or you can split them apart. But let's say on week 1, I would allocate 30 minutes to a long investigation. And I want you to park that, because I'm going to talk about that in a lot of detail next week. And then there's this other 20 minutes, which might happen on the same day, snuggled up next to it, or at a different time. And that 20 minutes is called Go Grapheme Grafters. On cycle 2, we have 10 minutes daily that is split across the week. So it literally goes 50 minutes, cycle 1, split into a 30 and a 20, and then cycle 2, split across the week into 5 10-minute chunks. What we're going to do tonight is zoom in to this 20 minutes, and I'm going to explain the very tight bits that will make the implementation of this work, doable, and actually create the biggest amount of difference. Okay. Now, go. Oh, Mr. C got a question. No, you're all right.
You just put it down a little bit.
Yeah, is that all right? Like that?
Right, thank you.
Cool. It's given me a bit of, it's been a long time since we've done this, isn't it? Well, I need a little bit of up a bit, down a bit. You know what I mean? Anyway, the Spell It Out board. The Spell It Out board is a fundamental part of how the children will be prepared to show us what they can do in Go Grapheme Grafters. And the Spell It Out board runs through the curriculum. It is an ongoing part of how we get children ready for a task, and it threads and knits across a range of subjects. And what do I mean about a spell it out board, and what are the key features of it, and how does it function in our room? Now, what I'm going to talk about now is an overview. I want you to really get this overview, but if you don't get it straight away, don't worry, because this is a summary of the message today, and there is one message, and it's essentially this. We have two component parts to Go Grapheme Grafters. We have a spell it out board that lives in our room for 2 weeks. It showcases 15 words in a oneer, as it were, all at the same time. And that spell it out board is linked to national curriculum requirements for their age in relation to what we need them to spell well. There is another part to Go Grapheme Grafters that is an actual task where children will have a Go Grapheme Grafter book, and it becomes a task that takes place. It lasts for 20 minutes, and I'm going to talk later how to lay out your books in a double page spread mode. So this spell it out board is about living in the room. It's about spaced learning. It's about cross-curricular links and connections. I'll talk more about the detail in a moment, as well as a 20-minute task. So, first things first. Where do you start with this approach? Well, first things first, where you start, in your spelling book, on a week 1 cycle, you have inside here your 15 targeted words. Those words get written up in your classroom so that children can see them straight away, and we call it our spell it out board. They arrive in the room, all 15 words at once, with the targeted phoneme identified. So they arrive instantly with their marks. Children will be used to these marks because we're picking this approach up from year 2 upwards, and we're either using this symbol to denote 1 letter, 1 sound, or this symbol to denote 2 letters, 1 sound. You might have a situation like 3 letters, 1 sound. So your digraph, your trigraph. I can't remember what 4's called. Can you, Mr. C? No.
Yeah. There's a few different names.
Yeah.
I think is one of them.
Yeah.
So
So
put me on the spot.
I won't put you on the spot. So that is our spell it out board arrives in the room with the marks.
And you split diagraph.
Oh yeah, and your split digraph just there. Now, what then happens as it lives in the room, so the words are there, they're all ready to go. The focus phoneme is marked. Our main purpose and drive of this part is to open children's thinking. We're going to take them to a hard thinking place, but we want to improve their spelling by actually, if you know that these 2 letters working together make the A sound, then we're going to find other words that have the same letter representation and sound representation. So let's take this idea that we're going to let the words infuse in the room. The the children are going to work in the mode of spelling detectives, and they're going to be on the lookout through a wide range of different reading opportunities that will be happening in our room in a cross-curricular way and within their reading teaching, as well as me as teacher being aware that I might want to start deliberately modelling in my writing teaching chances for this phoneme spelt in that exact way, but in different words. So, for example, there's this ongoing collection. And where do I collect these connections? Right back on my spell it out board. So we might find crown in history. So we've got the ow, same as foul, but we find it in a different word. We find powder in RE. We find tower in our class story. We find town in our geography lesson. And it might be that I include frowning as part of my modelling so that we have collected all these connections, because rather than keep saying phonics, it's so difficult to work with, causing all these sort of exceptions. We've got to recognise, and the science of learning leads us there, of course, is that it's very phonetically regular. And we can see these links across all these different words. If you can spell the ow in foul, then you're going to be able to hear that phoneme and spell it in all these other words as well. Mr. C, are there any questions or comments? Oh, great.
Alex, mad as a hamster.
Oh, Alex.
And what Alex says is, I've lost it, hold on a minute.
Oh, get it back.
Put it back on board. My children, my children have really got into adding to the spell it out board. Could barely keep up this week.
Oh, Alex, that's lovely feedback. So the kids, once the kids get this, once we start opening their thinking to this, they become really good. And then they start noticing, actually, it might look the same, but it might not sound the same. So we're really working on tuning their ear to, and that's why we call it really good sound associations. Same spelling, same grapheme, there's a match. At this stage, it is worth me quoting Toni Morrison, who said, word work is sublime. It's like the more we know, the more we find out, and we know the richer and richer we get with word acquisition, then our chances get higher and higher for our future life chances. So let's really kind of make words the most prized and precious possessions of all. I hope you can see this. It's a bit faint here.
A little bit bigger.
You do you, babe. You do you. If you can make it bigger, I won't never quote Mr. C out of context. You do you. Right. Here you can see that we're beginning to, zoom into the schwa here, and we see it not just in father, but another and computer. This is an unusual ending here on giraffe. We've got a trigraph there, and there's not many words that have the similar spelling, but we've got gaff and stuffed. And again, you might think there's more, but there often isn't. But the EA, we've got break, we've got steak, really tuning into the smallest units of sound. And I think it's really interesting when we invest in these connections and children can see us prioritize these connections. This is not now, and this is what the success of Go Grapheme Grafters relies on. It's like, I am with you. You're under my tight modelling when I'm layering these into kind of deliberately dropping them into my demonstration writing. We're on the lookout for them in our reading teaching. We're on the lookout for them in other subjects. But because you can see I'm invested in this, children, what we're working towards is I'm investing in your future selves as spelling. In fact, it becomes less about memory and learning in the past. We're going to get behind this for the next 2 weeks because I want us to be really good at this for our future spelling selves. That's why we're doing it. Yes, Mr. C.
Well, I've got a good question.
Oh, go for it.
From Emma Dean McLean.
Oh.
Right, so Emma is saying that they're completely new to this. Oh, please keep on turning off.
Oh, you're having
completely
techie problems.
Looking how they can implement in class. What happens when you have multiple spelling groups?
Okay, what we need to do here is we've got to go for what we know about the science of teaching and learning. So we're going to go for strong, dynamic, whole class teaching. We are taking the whole class with us, and we're not differentiating because we have got 15 different spells on our spell it out board. It will be differentiated because there might be some really complicated words that come forward, or words where actually, if we think about something like bicycle, for example, where we've got the letter C, and we might be focusing on the letter C that makes the S sound. But actually, bicycle's interesting because it does the K and the S sound within one word. So we can explore, more complicated words like that through our modelling, which we might bring to bear. Actually, we want to zoom in just to, it's the letter C, but it sounds like S. And bicycle has got 2 letter C's, but which one creates the S sound? We are zooming into words, and children will come at it appropriately according to the words they find. And I'm going to talk further how we help them through a individual component part that moves into a collaborative part. Okay.
Can I just give you another question, please? It's very good and pertinent.
Yeah, okay.
So
is your camera on, by the way, when you asked me?
Drake, who sounds
I know Danny Drake.
Right.
Hold on a minute. Danny Drake's just had a baby. You can't just say, here's Danny Drake and not, congratulations. I hope you're coping. Okay. All the nappies and night stuff, nightmare. Go on, hit me up with Danny's questions.
Do you use this just as a live working wall, or do you work the wall in their books as well?
Oh, no. Good question, Danny. It is alive. Think about it like a living wall in your garden. These are all kind of shoots that are kind of getting tangled up with other words. You work it live in the room. It is our collaborative, shared board, and it's not in their books. We're living and breathing it live, and it is all of our boards. And the children can come in the morning, and we'll have some rules around. You can slap a post-it on if you read a word last night and you can see it's got a split digraph A, and you found one in your reading. Put your name on it and write the word on. Make. You found that. Brilliant. So there can be rules like that where they can individually show us what they've got. We can write words up for them. There's probably a bit of a mix of both. And it reminds me a little bit of, like the England football squad's motto, that what this is about is not individual. Their motto is look up, play forward. It's like we're all going to look up. We're all going to look up at our board, and what we're learning here is going to play forward into better spelling that we're going to see within our writing. We're going to deliver kind of hard work down the line to our future selves. So here, you know, community, it's kind of knowing, look, we've got a double consonant there. We've got a double letter M making the M sound, and we can see it in recommend, accommodate, and common, and it's been highlighted in community, but we can find it in these other words as well. Okay, now, I did just want to say, because I think when I've ever talked about this before, I might have muddied the waters, because there are things that are really tight about Go Grapheme Grafters, and the thing that is tight is that we know what the focus phoneme is, and we're going to be on the lookout like spelling detectives to find it in other words. What is looser is other things where you think, oh, actually, I do want to talk about this if I've got time on the hoof, on the fly, live, because it's really important and I can do it quite pertinently and quickly, but it's not a big requirement. But I did want to say, if you want to break down the syllables of words, remember we're using a line that goes straight down. That's kind of the universal sign of how we're going to break a word back into syllables. And then this symbol here, the capital T, we put that over particular parts of words, which might be one letter, it might be two letters, where we think actually that is the tricky part. So at any point you want to draw attention to a tricky bit of a word, or you want to break a word down into the component syllables, these are the codings that you use on your board. It's not well, you want every word done in that way, but there might be times when you want to zoom very closely into a word and talk about it more closely. I hope that's okay. That's kind of your hanging loose stuff. Hanging loose stuff, yeah. Is that all right? Is that fair to say, Mr. C?
I think that's fair to say.
So, yeah, you like a bit of hanging loose.
I would say once you've got it bedded in.
Yeah, don't rush to that.
You know, maybe year 2.
Yeah.
Once the next class comes up in September, it might be worthwhile.
Are you saying if we do this too soon, we might push the 44% of us who are definitely going to leave in the next 5 years up to 48%? We don't want that. We don't want anyone to go. Please don't go. Just stay. We're going to be okay if we stick together. That's what I'm saying.
This is a great comment from Jude.
Oh, hi, Jude.
She said, no tricky words, only tricky bits. Exactly that.
Oh, I love that. No, thank you, Jude. Thank you for all your help with the spelling book as well. No tricky words, only tricky bits. Yeah, that is definitely a motto for life, I think. All right, so we have lived our board. It's been like a living wall in our room. It is all of our boards, and we are on the lookout for words that have similar sound associations, and we're modelling them into our teaching, and we're aware all the time of how we're trying to make those connections for children. I want to zoom in now to, okay, we've lived with these words for 2 weeks, and now we're going to hit our first Go Grapheme Grafter task. So really, it's not going to happen, let's say it's September, it's not going to happen till the 3rd week in September, and you've lived with your words for a couple of weeks. So the minute the task is going to happen as a task, we wipe off our board, we cover it up, we take it down, depending on the format of your board. And now the children don't see the words. We are going to work in an exercise book that we label Go Grapheme Grafters, and we work on a double page spread. This is exactly how that double page spread, that 20 minutes, is organised from the children's perspective. Okay, first things first. we go through those words and we say them once like this. The word I need you to spell is foul. We put that word into a sentence in case it is a homophone and there could be some confusion. The smell was foul. We don't need a long sentence, and we need children to be able to get their idea down in 20 seconds. You're probably hijacking about 8 seconds of that, telling them the word, putting it into a sentence, and they are then under pressure to spell it. They're doing that individually, and I want you to think about that like a low stakes test. Now, this is not about Guardian headlines, Jane's getting rid of the spelling test. What Jane is getting rid of is pressure on parents to be in charge of a spelling test. We are going to test them on those words that we've lived with for 2 weeks, and we want to see how well they can spell happily, foul, fate, great. They have seen them for all that time, and then once they've had a go at spelling them, I want you to visualise this little beauty down here as being the spine to the book. And they're going to turn that under, and then they're going to work in pairs. I want them now to know for sure, just remind them what the focus phoneme of that word was. So you'd say, remember, now we're looking at the focus phoneme, ow, in foul. And then in pairs, they can now chat, part of retrieval practice work. How many words can they think of that have that letter representation and match sound? They can talk about it, it's lively, there's a hubbub, but it ends after a minute exactly. There can be a ticking clock, and then it's come back to me, and we move on to word 2. So it would go, please spell foul. The smell was foul. They've got 20 seconds to get that, and then 1 minute collaboratively to come up with as many words as they can that show the same spelling. And for that phoneme, ow, clown, drown, cow, shower, powder, tower. And stop, come back to me. So it goes individual, silence. You got to run your room really slick. Chitter chatter, pairs, chotting. Come back to me. Next word, fate. That was Romeo's fate. Have a go at spelling fate. And then 20 minutes up, hitting back to a minute. How many words can they come up with that show that? Oh, yeah. Have I actually over? I've just noticed there. I've homophoned my own homophone. Oh, I know. I've done that. Foul as in bird. Hello.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Is wrong. The word's correct.
I know. What am I like?
Go back to the sentence.
I'll go back to the sentence. Fowl is a category of meat, and we use it to describe birds that we eat. It's a bit gross when I say it like that. No wonder I didn't want to say that. But yeah, you get me drift. So you see, I've homophoned my own homophone world. There we go. Well, don't do that. That'd be rubbish, wouldn't it? But you'll be teaching sober, so that is always means you're going to be in a better position than I am. Right, here we go. Just so you know, we go from here to here, back to fate, so that it has individual 20 seconds, lively hubbub, shotting for a minute, and back again. Right, please don't ask me any tricky questions about homophones, but are there any other things you want to ask?
I've got a couple of questions.
Oh, great. Can you do any of your questions on lock, Mr. C, or is your tech gone a bit wonky? No, you know when you used to like put them on lock, you lock them in.
I do. I've been doing that.
Have you?
Yes.
No, wicked. Right then, hit
Just
us
a couple
up.
of quick ones. I've already put them on like a bit. So this is from Denise. I'm running back a little bit. I didn't want to interrupt you. He was on the flow.
Okay, babe.
Right. So I'm going to actually put it on me.
Oh, thank goodness.
Hi, everybody. Right. So Denise is asking. I have answered in the chat, but you can say, does this mean the words for week 1 in the spelling book would be up for 2 weeks before you begin week 1 teaching?
Yeah, Denise. So in a week 1 actually is you're revealing for week 1 the words, but they've got to live them and experience them, so that essentially it would be week 3 that they have those words kind of drop down into a Go Grapheme Grafter task. They cannot do that task without looking at their living wall, making the connections cross-curricularly, as chatting about them, seeing lots of opportunities to find them. The kids will blow your mind with the more practice they have, and they find them in their own reading, and we'll be on the lookout for them in our reading teaching. But they can't hit that task. That task is a test of what they can spell by themselves, and a test of how they can work collaboratively, understanding the concept of sound associations. They can't do that without living with those words for 2 weeks first. So if you're asking me in a roundabout way, is week 1 really week 3 before you get going? Then yes, I think so.
I think week 1. Week 1's always a difficult one.
Yeah.
Let me just put it on. So week 1's always the difficult one, because at the very beginning of the year you think, oh, but what you're doing is you're introducing the words on that very first session, and then you're going through the exercise on what would be week 3. But as soon as that exercise is done, you then jump to week 3's words. So the point of the Go Grapheme Grafters is that the words are a part of the environment that they are constantly, and you're constantly referring to, if that makes sense. Slightly under-explained in the book, but we have written an extra document that's free to download on the on both websites, isn't it? trainingspace.co.uk and on janeconsidine.com, I think. I'll put it back to you, Jane.
Okay, the minute that exercise has been completed, that 20 minutes, the next spell it out board is put into the room. And your teaching timetable, your teaching and learning exchanges carry on, and you are now living with a new set of words for those new 15 set of words for the next 2 weeks. This is an adult example of how you want the books laid out. So this side is the children's individual attempts at spelling the words, and I've just written it out in an adult way, so you can, there's no confusion. We're not looking at children's handwriting and getting confused what's happening. So this is them on their left side individually spelling those words by themselves, and then over here is them working collaboratively to come up with other words that showcase that phoneme. Now, you're not on your own with this. Remember, not only do you have the lists of words that need to be a part of your spell it out board outlined in the spelling book, you can also go down to, you don't have to go down, you can go up. Really, what you want to do is go on to the trainingspace.co.uk answer section, and we're not saying it has to be these words, but there are lots of examples of, you know, if you're looking at not and you're looking at n spelled KN, we've got lots of examples according to their age, like knee and night and knife, that you might find within your cross-curricular work, or you can deliberately lace the room with them. And remember, you've got friends as well, like the Fairy Spell Mother and the Word Wizard. They're coming out to play next week a lot more. And we might, we're looking at the E in meet, but we can see it here when we read in English, in easily. We can see it in reveal, in history, and season in science. So we're collecting all the time. Ian's already mentioned this. Ian, can you put a lovely link in the chat for us? It's on the janeconsidine.com site, and it is a downloadable document called Go Grapheme Grafters Explained. And we have listened loud and clear to the community. We're making edits to that all the time, and we're trying to make it as sleek and as clear, crystal clear as possible, so that our wordsmith work with children is really sharp, and our purpleness, what we know and how we do it is absolutely spot on. So yeah, download that because that's yours and that's free. When we actually produce really amazing documents, like why the spelling book was organised in that way. We've got kind of all of the science that we know about the teaching of spelling, and this document, Go Grapheme Grafters, we put it in a place called Frequently Asked Questions. I don't know why. We're going to have a look at that because we've got some really wowsy stuff there, but definitely get your mitts on that if you're an English subject leader. It's all free. It's all yours. Get hold of it. So yeah, around the country, we've had loads of great examples of spell it out boards. We've had...
You're running very fast, Jane.
I'm sorry.
Slow down a bit.
Slow down.
You're over...
I'll tell you, why I'm running fast. I'll tell you why I'm running fast, because he was bloody moaning about these spell it out boards, because he goes, they put them up without marking the phoneme. So I thought, I'll slide past them fast. But we're learning all the time. We're learning all the time. So here now we've got them, and we can start to zoom into those.
Great question here.
Yes.
From Michelle.
Do it, Michelle.
Which is saying, how do you know which phonemes to mask? Now on the oh, hang on a minute.
How do you know what phoneme to tune into?
Yeah, well, you can choose. Do
it.
So you can choose any ones you want there.
Michelle.
Sorry, I knew it was Michelle. It's written down here, Jane. I don't need to guess. I knew
exactly.
But you can choose any ones you want, obviously. But we've got a document there, which is this one here. I'll just show you it on Jane's thing. And basically, what you'll be able to do with that, it's got all of the words from all of the books, week by week, and then within that you've got a breakdown of one of the phonemes. So you can use that as an example, or you can basically make up your own. It's up to you. And the thing is as well, you might want to mix it up a bit as well. But the point of it is, it's this revisiting of these phonemes as well. So when you've come across a grapheme in week 4, and you'll come across the same grapheme in week, say 8, and it's them then recalling, and it's sort of like it helps embed it, and then you'll see it in year 2, and then you might see it again in year 3 and year 4. So that's the point of it. So if you follow the ones that are in the free downloadables, that's going to sort of like help with consistency across. Back to you.
But the truth is, Michelle, you can choose any focus phoneme that you want. If you've noticed that children are struggling, you want to respond to their needs. That's the gorgeous looseness of this approach. We want the big guiding principle, if they know that, KN as in letters spells the N sound, then they can see that in knife and knot and knitting, and it's knickers to you as well. So yeah, but it can be your choice, but we've also got guidance there. So a real mix, actually. I did want to say a big, gorgeous heartburst to Hannah Spence, who works Ben Hall Infant School, and she's got a fabulous 15 spell it out board, and not only is she working hard with her kids to find those sound associations, she's got the help of the word wizard too, and she said spelling has never been better. But you don't have to just bring the word wizard, you could bring the fairy.
Oh, bloody creep.
I know, she's good, isn't she? Or the fairy spell mother, you know, who's an absolute expert at phonics. You know, we can find all sorts of ways to bring in words that make those links and joins, because what we know about learning, it's about what do I already know, what have I already got down as a kid, and that because I know that, I now know this and that, and it's helping them categorize and sort. So by knowing how to spell one word, you're unlocking many other spellings en route. Oh, I know it seems a long way off, and it's not just about a swanky hotel with nice cake. Oh no, it's not. But if you wanted to truly have a longer look at spelling, how you might apply it across the whole school, you definitely want to launch it before September. I might see you in Birmingham or Newcastle. It's been a long time since I've been to Newcastle, so up the Northern Massif, you know what I mean? If you can get there, that'd be great. It always is so heartwarming as well when we're on the road, how far all of you travel to get there, and we really do appreciate that. But yeah, we're going then on to Liverpool, Leeds and Glasgow. So if you want to book your place to find out more about spelling, come and meet like-minded teachers who are on the edge and are going to leave. Come and meet like-minded teachers who are going to stay. Who are you? And to talk about spelling, to talk about how we can support each other, share ideas. If you're not a member of the teacher squad, get in it, because the amount of love and resource sharing is adorable. And I know there's tons of stuff out there to help with reading, writing and spelling. And finally, just to say, we're going to meet same time, same place next week at 7:30. I mean, it's not going to be as a good a Sunday as this work because we'll have to wake up the next day early. But next week, we're going to take a longer look at the investigation part of the spelling programme, as well as the quick tasks. So that's exciting. I've really kind of made a mental note that I don't want to keep you too long, because I know it's much better if we're shorter and sweeter. But before I go, Mr. C, are there any last questions? Go for it.
I've answered a couple of these in the chat, but it's probably better that you sort of like can quickly go over them because you've got a few minutes yet. So this is from Emily Love. It says, would you introduce the 15 words on the spell it out board at once and then live and breathe the sound associations throughout the 2 weeks, or would you stagger introducing the words over the 2 weeks?
Okay, Emily Love. Oh my goodness, love your name. A little bit jealous. I need you to get those words kaboom, quick, urgent, in the room from the off with the marked phonemes, and then we almost like breathe, calm, and then we start meeting them individually, talking about them, but they're all there from the beginning, because what we're going to start seeing is by the time you're on your 6th spell it out board, children's thinking will be much speedier at knowing, because there's the fine line between the training the children to understand conceptually what the spell it out board is, and now down the line when we're on our 6th set of new words, like they get it, they know what the point of it is, then they can start getting excited about it straight away. because we want to start showing them through worked examples. And of course, we know the science of thinking says actually the more worked examples we have, the deeper, the tighter grasp they have on this kind of big concept around by being good at this word here, this sound here, you're unlocking this word, this word, this word. Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got another one from Donna Noon.
Hi, Donna.
Which is, when you mark the low stake test,
yeah,
what do you do with the results?
Okay, that is a really good question. What do we do with the results? Now, I would be of the thinking that by having them in the books, we will be able to begin to capture actually information like they're all really struggling with medial phonemes, particularly vowels, and I need to tune into giving them more opportunity, which I can do now. I've noticed that 80% of my class really struggled with the EA spelling for the E sound. So now I know that I've logged that. I'm not writing that in a file that's getting dust. I'm not writing a collection of scores. Bartek got 11 out of 15. Maisie got 7 out of 15. It's not that sort of information, but I've got a place I can look to draw down big information for me as a teacher. So I can look across that and say, actually, they were all crap at spelling that word. And because they were crap at that, I'm going to make sure I feed that in and put more emphasis into that down the line in my kind of personal response into the future Spell It Out board. I hope that's okay. The key to that is basically you're not marking them as in marking them like that, but you are noting what's going to feed back into your teaching and learning loop. Yeah.
Can I?
You work on your marriage, basically. Yes.
One more question.
Don't take books home. Work on your marriage. Yes, Mr. C.
Right.
Are you working on your marriage, Mr. C?
Every minute of every day.
Good.
Right. This is from Jolie.
Oh.
Jolie. Right. So
Go higher.
Jolie is asking about mixed age classes, the dreaded mixed age class. What should they do in mixed age classes?
Okay.
I personally,
all right,
I would cycle. So if you're in a year 3-4, I'll do year 3 1 year, year 4 the following year.
Yeah. So you've got a choice there. You basically buy year 3 book and year 4 book, and you'd say we're going to do this Spell It Out board from year 3 and this Spell It Out board from year 4, and we'd put it on a running cycle. You've got to recognise the strands that are wired through year 3 and year 4. Because we have a curriculum that is thinking about it in that way, there are lots of repeated dimensions that are coming through both of the books. So it's a bit like get both books and intersplice them across a 2-year cycle. Let's hope to goodness you haven't got more than 3 years in a class, because I really don't know how you teachers cope with all of that. But it's to do with, but coverage over time and recognising those kids are going to be with you for 2 years. So over a sequence of time, they'll meet all of the requirements. Any other questions?
Let me have a quick look.
That's me. I'm just giving him a look there. Don't ask me any scary mixed age planning questions, because it really is tough. It really is tough, and depending on where your split is as well. But hopefully your split is across kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6.
Right, it will be. There's not many schools that do reception year 1, as we found out the other day. Right, I think, Jane, that's probably about it. I'm sure there will be more.
Yeah.
And we can go through them if people save up, and remind people when we're back next week.
We're back next week. Yeah. Back next week, we're doing a little bit more on spelling. I want you now to have a gorgeous rest of your evening. I really appreciate you turning up, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Thank you very much. Good night.